Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, where we talk about metal rock and prog music. And this is my August 2025 album release radar. I'm going to talk about 27 new metal rock and prog music releases that are coming out in August. And this is the video to watch if you're looking for what's new and what's coming and things to get excited for. And if you just want to know what I'll be talking about on my channel over the next month or so, as I post my first impressions of these as they come out weekly. So we're going to start with August 1st, and that's already passed. So the ones that I've got highlighted in orange here are already out, so you can already listen to them. And then we're going to move on to the rest of August. In my next video, I'll be posting my first impressions of these releases from August 1st. So let's start with Car Bomb here. They put out an EP called Tile Whisper Dreams. They're an American mathcore band. Definitely a great one to check out if you want to hear the sound of Meshuggah meeting the insanity of the Dillinger Escape Plan. Then this is a great band to check out. Another great EP that came out on August 1st is Oni with Genesis Part 2. They're a Canadian metalcore band, and Jake Oni is the vocalist here. I thought part one of this was really good. His latest full-length studio album is excellent as well. So I was definitely looking forward to this one, and I'll give my first impressions of it in my next video. And then Discipline put out Breadcrumbs, their sixth album. They're an American symphonic progressive rock band. Never heard an album by them before this, but I enjoyed the single When Night Calls Today. And the album opens with an almost 17-minute prog epic called Breadcrumbs. So if that sounds good to you, check this out. Then we had Atreyu put out The Curse 2025. It's a re-recording of what's probably their best album from 2004. They're an American metalcore band. Fit for a King put out Lonely God, the eighth album by this American metalcore band. And this is another one where I thought their last album was very good, so I was definitely looking forward to hearing if they could outdo themselves here. Crown Lands put out Ritual 2, an EP. They're a Canadian band, and they're usually a progressive rock band, but this is more instrumental ambient with world music and progressive rock influences. It's just a 31-minute instrumental EP. It follows as a sequel from Ritual 1. Definitely check it out if you like instrumental ambient music. I prefer their stuff with vocals. And Kayo Dot put out Every Rock, Every Half Truth Under Reason, the 11th album by this American band. And this is kind of experimental post-rock with drone, dark ambient, black metal, gothic metal, doom metal, art rock, and post-metal influences. It's very experimental and hard to describe. It's KO Dot. Now let's move on to August 8th. There we have Lucid Planet releasing Tanglewood. This is a live, kind of a live album by this Australian progressive metal band. They've got psych rock and electronic, ambient, and progressive rock influences. It's a live album, a 55-minute live album that's been electronically hybridized, so it actually blends brand new sections, refreshed arrangements of known songs. It blends that with immersive electronic production. So very cool, very unique. I haven't heard of too many bands doing this kind of thing. So I'm kind of curious to check that out for sure. I don't usually talk about too many live albums on here, but it's almost hard to say if this is really a live album because it kind of supposed to flow as one cohesive journey. It's designed as a live set list, but it's experienced like a singular piece of music. And everything I've heard from Lucid Planet before has been amazing, so I'm interested in this for sure. If it was just a straightforward live album, I probably wouldn't even bother with it, but since it's kind of like this art piece to it, I'm curious about it. Also on August 8th, A.C.T is releasing Eternal Winter, the sixth album by this Swedish band. It's progressive rock, and I thought their last EP, Falling from 2023, was very good. The single I heard from this one called The Family was a fun and silly song. It's really catchy, so I'm looking forward to this. Then we have Crypt Sermon releasing Saturnian Appendices. This is an EP by this American epic doom metal band. They've got traditional heavy metal influences. And I thought their last album, The Stygian Rose, was very good. So I'm excited to hear this. If you're a fan of the first six Black Sabbath albums, you might like this because the riffing sounds like them. But there's also some shreddier guitar leads that are more reminiscent of Judas Priest guitar solos. It's fast and powerful for doom metal at times, but it also has some slow, heavy grooves that are typical in doom as well. And we have Blackbraid releasing Blackbraid III, the third album by this American atmospheric melodic black metal band that has folk and indigenous music influences. This is a one-man black metal project created by John Krieger. I thought Blackbraid 2 was very good. The single I heard from this, War Drums at Dawn on the Day of My Death, was solid. And I'm hoping this is even better than their last one. Then on the same day, August 8th, Attack Attack is releasing Attack Attack 2, which is the fourth album by this American metalcore band that mixes electronic and post-hardcore influences with their metalcore. Attack Attack to me is kind of a silly novelty act with their electronic auto-tune pop choruses and their intense metalcore breakdowns, but they can be fun to listen to sometimes. This is their first album in 13 years. I'm checking it out as a curiosity because back when their last one came out, I kind of thought it was fun, but then I don't really listen to it much anymore. It's one of those things that like at the time it's like a fun, silly thing to put on and like a good time, but then it didn't leave a super lasting impression, but I remember them fondly as kind of silly metalcore, so I kind of want to check it out just for some fun. And Baby Metal, another one that's kind of silly fun here, is Metal Fourth and their fourth album. They're a Japanese metal band. I guess it's kind of power metal, but J-pop. They call it kawaii metal, plus alternative metal, electronic and trance influences. And I'm not a big fan of Baby Metal, but they are a really fun novelty act as well, kind of like Attack Attack. So I'm planning on checking this out just for a good time. Now let's move over to August 15th. Rise Against is releasing Ricochet, the 10th album by this American melodic hardcore punk rock band. Always enjoy Rise Against. They're very catchy but interesting punk rock. They've got some heaviness, they've got some cool riffs. They're nothing too groundbreaking, but they're just always enjoyable, melodic, catchy, and good songs. So I'm going to check that out. Panopticon is releasing two albums on August 15th. One of them is going to be a folk album, and the other's a black metal album. So these are their 11th and 12th albums, Laurentian Blue and Songs of Hiraeth. So the first one, Laurentian Blue, is being described as a companion piece for And Again Into the Light from 2021. It won't have their typical black metal sound. Instead, it will be a folk album that features more traditional folk instrumentation, but will be really dark folk for fans of black metal music. And their second one on that day will be a collection of songs written during the on the subject of mortality time period around 2010. And hard to say if that makes this second one here a compilation album. I've been seeing like some things are considering it a compilation, some things are considering it a new full length, or if it's a new album entirely. These are obscure and rare old tracks, and I don't really know that much about the band, so I don't know if these tracks were already released in the past as B-sides or if they're net new tracks nobody's heard yet. I'm not really sure, but curious to check it out because I've heard some of their stuff in the past and found it interesting. And Ellefson-Soto is releasing Unbreakable on August 15th. And this is the second album by this American heavy metal band with thrash metal, hard rock, and progressive influences. So Ellefson, of course, is David Ellefson, former Megadeth bassist and acclaimed metal vocalist Jeff Scott Soto. Team up here, Jeff Scott Soto sung with Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Sons of Apollo, and more. So they're collaborating again on their second album together. If you're a fan of Megadeth and Sons of Apollo, definitely check it out. It's kind of like those two bands mixing together with some more influence from more traditional heavy metal, thrash metal, and hard rock like Iron Maiden and Metallica. If you like that kind of thing, with a little bit of progressive influence from time to time. I thought their debut was very good. Looking forward to this as well. And last on my list for August 15th, kind of the odd one out on this list is Bret McKenzie with Freak Out City, the second album by this artist from New Zealand. It's pop rock with alternative rock, indie rock, jazz, yacht rock. I discovered Bret McKenzie through the TV show Flight of the Conchords, a show I love. I think this is just going to be standard pop rock songs, though, rather than what I know him for, which are his comedy songs for Flight of the Conchords. I don't expect this to blow my mind or anything. He's a fine singer-songwriter. I like him more for his comedy stuff and his TV show Flight of the Conchords. I prefer that over the serious music that he does, but I'm checking it out as a curiosity. I've heard his debut. It's good, but it's pretty standard stuff. August 22nd, Deftones is releasing Private Music, the 10th album by this American band. It's alternative metal with shoegaze, post-rock, and dream pop influences. I love every album by Deftones. They never miss for me. I'm excited to hear this. I'll actually be seeing them live with System of a Down, which I'm looking forward to. So this one is going to be a really exciting one for me. Definitely pumped for that. And then 3 Days Grace is putting out Alienation, the eighth album by this Canadian hard rock band with alternative rock, post-grunge, alternative metal, and pop influences. I enjoyed the debut album by 3 Days Grace when it came out when I was 12 years old or so, but then my interests moved away from this hard rock, alternative rock, and post-grunge sound. I got more into metal, got more into progressive music, so I kind of stopped following them closely. I know and enjoy some of the radio hits by 3 Days Grace. They're not really my style though. But I think they still make some decent songs, and they are Canadian, so I do want to check this out to support my fellow Canadians and just for some nostalgia here. And then Bioscope is releasing Gento, the debut album by this band. It's kind of a duo, one from the UK, one from Germany. They are progressive rock, and the individuals here are Steve Rothery, guitarist of Marillion, and Tangerine Dream's Thorsten Queishning. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. So these are some music industry veterans and heavyweights here teaming up, some big names. I'm not sure what to expect here, but Marillion's a solid band, and though I've never gotten into Tangerine Dream, I've heard good things about Tangerine Dream as well. So maybe the kind of I don't know if this is going to sound like Marillion and Tangerine Dream or what, or if they're just going to go in a completely different direction. But since these guys are really talented people and well respected in the prog rock world, I'm definitely going to check this out. Then last one on August 22nd I have on my list is The World is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die. This is the fifth album by this American band, and it's post-hardcore emo with post-rock, indie rock, alternative rock, punk, progressive rock, and post-metal influences. And I've never listened to a full album by this band, but I've heard really good things about them. I've enjoyed the single, which Su Sufre Pero Se Goza. I guess it's like Spanish title. So I plan to check this out. And now let's move over to August 29th. I think the last day on my video today. I have Asymmetric Universe releasing A Memory and What Came After, the debut album by this American instrumental progressive metal band that has jazz fusion influences. If you're a fan of Intervals, Polyphia, Pliny, Animals as Leaders, Scale the Summit, etc., I think you'll like Asymmetric Universe. And then I want to say this is pronounced Elo or Ilo, I don't know, Elo. Their album Legacy is coming out on August 29th, the second album by this band from the UK, progressive metal gent with electronic pop and progressive rock influences. I've never heard their debut, but I heard two singles from this ahead of time, Empire and Replica, and they are both really well done. Progressive metal with catchy hooks and anthemic choruses, so excited to check this out. Then we have power metal legends Halloween releasing Giants and Monsters, their 17th album. They're a German band. They're a big name and a pioneer in the power metal scene. Power metal's not really my main style, so I've never been into them much, but I'm curious to check it out. I know I do enjoy some power metal from time to time, and I've heard these guys are among the best. And songs that I've heard from them have all been pretty solid. So interested in checking it out just to know kind of what these power metal pioneers are like. And Trudger is releasing Void Quest, the second album by this band from the UK, sludge metal with death metal influences. And I've never heard the debut by Trudger, but I did hear the single Tethered System ahead of time. I enjoyed that, so it's on my list. And I saw that two guitarists in this band, Trudger, used to be in the band Dune, which is a band I love. So that's part of what got me really excited and made me put it on my list. And last one for the video today is from the Seasons of Mist label. The band is called Sowulo, and the album is NIHT, the fifth album by this band from Netherlands. And this is dark Nordic pagan Viking neo-folk. It's the work of multi-instrumentalist and composer Faber Horbach, inspired by Anglo-Saxon and Viking Age mysticism and philosophy. So this is pretty cool. Uh, their fifth album coming out on Seasons of Mist. Seasons of Mist has put out a lot of great music, and they've been great about getting me early promo copies. So I'll be checking this whole one out way in advance. I'm probably going to listen to it like tomorrow. Haven't listened to it yet, but I always love getting those promo copies. This is, I've heard a little bit of it, I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but definitely check this out if you're a fan of Heilung and Wardruna. It's that very primal and visceral and cinematic, dark Nordic neo-folk music, which I find pretty cool. Cool sound. Um, it's never been like my favorite genre or anything, but there's something fascinating about this kind of music that makes me want to keep checking out the best bands in that genre. And you can see a sneak peek of a couple of the albums that I'll talk about in my September album release radar. I haven't quite finished my September list. I'm probably pretty close to knowing what's coming out in September, but I don't really want to make this video too long. So in about a month's time, I'll post my what's coming out in September video. And probably in a couple days or so, I'll post my first impressions on the albums that came out on August 1st. So if you want to hear my first impressions of these albums, hit that subscribe button so you stay in the loop on when I post new videos. And if you like metal, rock, and prog music, you've definitely come to the right place. Stay tuned for next time, and peace out.